Help.
What could we do?
Here's one thing. It's called Neighborhood Watch. It's a way for people to help the police protect their neighborhood.
Thank you. We'll look it over.
I have a few more questions, if you fellas would excuse us.
Sure thing, officer. Come on. We're supposed to meet Mike Foot anyway.
Besides, if you hang around a mess too long, someone might ask you to clean it up.
Shalom, shalom, and welcome back to Wo Live Men TV here on YouTube. Well, today I'm with you to talk about some current events, in particular the events surrounding Trayvon Martin's murder. And the reason why I decided to make this video is because, quite honestly, I'm tired of seeing people on the media, in the news, whether it's on CNN or any of these other channels, that are basically defending the actions of Mr. Zimmermann, this man that murdered this boy in cold blood, because basically because he was wearing a hoodie and he was black. And so I wanted to make this video quickly because, as I said, quite frankly, I'm just tired of hearing excuses being made for his actions. You know, those who are saying that, well, we need to wait to hear all of the facts before we go speaking ignorantly. Well, the facts are there. The facts are quite evident that this man racial profiled this young man as he walked to his stepmom's house or his dad's house, and eventually murdered him. Okay, the boy was on the phone with his girlfriend, and he reported to her that some man's following him, and he feels scared, he feels threatened, and eventually he was accosted by Mr. Zimmermann. Based on the injuries Mr. Zimmermann sustained, it's obvious that Trayvon was trying to defend himself from somebody he knew nothing of or nothing about. And so you have these people, including those running for presidential office, that are defending this guy and saying that, you know, for those who would speak out calling for justice, that they're now trying to paint us as racist. There's nothing racist here. All we are seeking is justice. It's been over a month since this boy was murdered, and Mr. Zimmermann is still free. Okay, listening to CNN the other day, they played a recording, and they enhanced the recording so that it could be heard. And this gentleman, Mr. Zimmermann, referred to blacks as coons, expletive coons. He said he's tired of these expletive coons getting away with crime, basically, is what he was saying. Okay, Trayvon was not there trying to break into nobody's house or anything like that. He had simply walked to the store to get a bag of Skittles and a can of Arizona iced tea, and was on his way back to watch a basketball game when he was accosted by this racist and murdered. Okay, so today what I want to do is I want to read some of the guidelines, established guidelines for a neighborhood watch program. Okay, and for those of you who continue to defend Mr. Zimmermann and imply that he was simply defending his neighborhood and himself, I would like for you to answer the question that arises, or the questions that arises when we look at these guidelines, because clearly Mr. Zimmermann violated all of these guidelines. Okay, and so I'm going to be reading some of these guidelines, and at the introduction I played a clip from Bill Cosby's cartoon, and you know, I played that clip because my hopes would have been at this time that Mr. Zimmermann at some point had seen that cartoon, because even there the message is clear as to what his role should be. And towards the end of this video I'm going to play another clip of that cartoon, okay, because it makes it clear what his role should have been. And so I just wish he had, you know, watched this cartoon, but obviously there are a lot of black characters in the cartoon, and so perhaps maybe that's why he never watched it. If he had watched it, it would have learned something that would have kept him out of the kind of wranglings that he now finds himself in the midst of. Alright, so I want to read for you some guidelines for a Neighborhood Watch program. And this comes from the Sacramento County Sheriff Department. Okay, this comes from the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department, and it can be found at www.sacsheriff.com, sacsheriff.com/crime_prevention/documents/Neighborhood Watch. Okay, so this comes from the Sacramento County Sheriff Department, and these are their guidelines, and these guidelines govern neighborhood watches throughout this nation. Okay, these are things that law enforcement suggest you do if you're seeking to establish a neighborhood watch. And if you're going to be a part of a neighborhood watch, then you must have knowledge of these rules. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read these guidelines to you, and you tell me whether or not Zimmermann violated these rules. These rules, by the way, that he should have known, and I'm thinking that he did. Okay, but clearly he was driven by hatred. So here we go. Citizens Patrol. An effective tool for some watch programs to use is a citizen patrol. This is what Mr. Zimmermann was doing. He was being a citizen patrol. It is up to the community in conjunction with law enforcement to decide whether a patrol is needed. Citizen patrols are volunteers who walk or drive an area on a regular basis to report incidents and problems to the police and provide a visible presence that deters criminal activity. Okay, so here, his role is to patrol the area and to provide a visible presence that will deter criminal activity. And if he sees anything suspicious, then his responsibility is to report it to the police. Okay, now let's go on. They have no policing powers. You hear that? They have no policing powers. The block captain, the neighborhood watch personnel, as Mr. Zimmermann was in this case, has no policing powers. Okay, keep that in mind.